Hello, fifth period sophomores. This is Mr. Wood. I'm going to be taking you through your lesson today. So if you want to get a good grade, get this down. Just make sure you listen, follow directions, and it's going to be it shouldn't be too hard of a day today. Just want to let you know that I designed the world history curriculum, and I've worked with both Ms. Healy and Ms. Thompson on this. So let's get going. Right now, why don't you take out your note packets for 1.3 and flip to where you see this picture on your packet. If you're wondering what that looks like in your packet, it looks like this right here. So here's our 1.3 packet. From my understanding, you guys just finished your 2 paragraphs you typed, and then just scroll down here, turn your pages all the way until you get to this picture right here, and we're going to work on optic. So there we go. Now, for now, why don't you work on the O, P, and the T steps? And I'll guide you through them just a little bit here before you start. So don't quite start yet. We're going to do O, P, and T. Now for O, where it says overview, I want you looking at this whole thing here. What is going on in this picture? If you know where it is, if you know some big place names, you can put them down. But what is going on in this picture for overview? You can write that down. For parts, it's a little different. You want to focus on the individual parts. Like, what are all of these right here? What are these? What's going on over here? Katarak means basically waterfalls or rapids. What's going on over here? Break apart. What are all the little parts that are going on here? You shouldn't just say it's a map. You should have some names on here. Like if you say there's cities, put a couple of the city names down. If there's a river, put the name of the river down. And lastly, title. Now, this one actually doesn't have a title. If we look at the picture you're looking at, you have a caption down here. Where am I? Over here. There's my map. All right. Cool. So anyway, we got this right here. It says Nubia was Egypt's connection to the valued slave and ivory trade of sub-Saharan Africa. Now, that's actually not the title, but you could make a title by looking at this. So trade, something's going on with trade in this map between Egypt and Nubia. So go ahead right now. Our substitute, Mr. Beach, can pause the video for just a second. But why don't you guys take about 2 minutes to do a really good job on O, P, and T on your optic. And I'll just sit here, have my cup of coffee while you guys are working. Okay, Mr. Beach, could you pause me? All right, now that you got the O, P, and T steps done, why don't we do this with the person whom you're sitting with. And if you're not sitting with anyone, if you're on your own at a table, you can either turn backwards or the 2 people can go towards you. So in a group of 2 or in a group of 3, you may compare and share your answers. Read them out loud. If your partner's got something good, copy that down, okay? Again, Ms. Healy said this before. If you're bringing something to the table and you have your notes and you add an idea from someone else, like it's one idea, that's not cheating. That's called collaborating. So why don't you take about a minute or 2 here to collaborate. Mr. Beach, if you could, I think Ms. Thompson said she was doing engagement grades today. If the entire class is working awesome, I'm pretty positive she would have no problem giving everybody a 4.0 for engagement. But if you notice there's a student or 2 who are just doing really, really well, please write their name down. And if there's a student or 2 who are having a tough time, write it down. And that's how we can do the engagement grades. But it'd be best if we can give a 4.0 to everyone. Would be just awesome. So take a minute or 2 and compare and share your answers. And Mr. Beach, you can pause me so the students can work on that. That'd be great. All right, you're probably wondering, why didn't I do the interaction and the context steps? We're going to do those after we do the reading, so just keep it how it is for now. And why don't you guys, sophomores, just go down to your next page, and let's take a look at our next paragraphs that you are going to have to write. So here's the deal. We're going to be taking notes today, but before we take notes, it's often good to read the essay question or paragraphs that you're going to have to write, because then you kind of know it's like, oh, this is what I'm going to have to write about. This is what I should be looking for and focusing on in my notes. So the short answer question 2 is worth 14 points. Your first question, those 2 paragraphs are worth 26. This one here is worth 14. And our skills, again, going to be argumentation, which means you can make a point and you can argue it and back it up with evidence, which is the biggest thing to do in this class. So here is our question right here, our prompt. And I crossed out A. Go ahead and cross out A if you want to do that right now. So I highlighted this part here because this is the most important. It says, most historians argue that trade between civilizations caused civilizations to develop more rapidly than civilizations that engage in less trade. Basically what this means is when people are trading goods back and forth, they become richer. So basically what it means is you have two civilizations. When they trade goods, they both get the stuff the other civilization has. How does this work? I like grapes. I do. Because grapes are good. Alright, so I like grapes, but we don't really grow a whole lot of grapes in Minnesota. I like oranges. We don't grow a lot of oranges in Minnesota. Why is it that I get to eat grapes and oranges in Minnesota in January? And that makes me happy because I have grapes and oranges in January. It's because we trade. There are many grapes coming from Chile, and yes, from Ecuador too, that come to our country in trade. And we make a lot of other products that we give to people. Basically, think about it this way. If one civilization can grow a whole bunch of cotton and they can make textiles or shirts, and then another civilization can get a bunch of iron and they can make pots and everything, those two civilizations can trade, and now they both have shirts, they both have pots, pans, weapons, whatever else they want to make, they both have them. They've become richer. So trade makes civilization richer. Here's a big theme of world history you need to know for the whole year. The civilizations that trade the most become the richest. If you want to know the richest place in the world almost any time in world history, like in the past 3,000 years, it's the civilizations that have people moving in and out of their borders, bringing in products from other places. So you have to have open borders where people can move in and out and trade goods. That's why, things like big frickin' walls usually don't work. So, anyway, what are we talking about again? Oh yeah, I got to get you to the reading here. So, you're going to do a reading, but you're focused on how two civilizations trade and how they become richer for that. So, let's see here. What's next? Oh yeah, reading, note-taking. That's the stuff we're supposed to do next. So, take your packet and go back a page or two for your optic to this part right here where it says Roman numeral 3, culture played a significant role in unifying states through laws, literature, language, religion, myths, and monumental building. And go to letter F. So we are going to go to letter F in our reading. So you may take out your AP Worldopedia reading if you have it. If you don't have it, you can go on your phone, and I'm going to go look at the reading right now online. All right, so here I am on AP Worldopedia, and you are going to go down, if you're on your phone right now, or turning pages if you're not on your phone, and we are going to go to F right here. Oh, there it is right there. All right, there we go. So we are on F, and we're going to begin reading this and taking notes. Now, as taught in Thieves' Notes, the first note, the first sentence, and the last sentence are usually the most important, and we want to get the important details. So right now, follow along in your reading right there. I'll read through this one here real quick. And as I'm reading, you're going to take notes, and you're going to take notes in your box on 1.3F. Where are you? Right there is where you're going to want to take your notes for F. It's not that big of a box, sorry, but it'll work. All right, so let's look at paragraph F, and I can read this real quick here. We have some other readers read later. F. Individual human beings have always traded things of value among themselves. As basic as this sounds, this is the beginning of economic exchanges. When urban societies developed, these exchanges became more complex. Laws were devised to regulate trade, and often a class of people called merchants developed to preside over large economic exchanges. Initially, farmers and artisans would bring beads, textiles, agricultural products, and pots to the cities. I'm going to have you stop right there. This word merchants here is really important. Merchants are the people who sell things back and forth, and they are incredibly important in world history. We don't build statues to merchants like we do to Hammurabi, but you could argue merchants are even more important, because when goods get traded back and forth, everyone in that civilization gets richer because they get goods from 2, 3, 4, or even more places. So merchants are incredibly important. They will continue to be important in world history. Wait, now, where were we again now? Somewhere around, oh yeah, right there. There we go. As cities became aware of each other, they traded among themselves, thus expanding, buying, and selling from local and regional levels. With the growth of civilizations, that's a typo, with the growth of civilizations in the valleys of major rivers, trade expanded to trans-regional, across different regions, exchanges, and included both land and maritime routes. See the map on the left. So see in the map here we got some maritime routes. Those are by water. If you're a Spanish speaker, mar means sea. Maritime means by the sea. So we see land routes that are over here. We see water routes that are happening this time period. And this is going to cause goods to go back and forth, and people will have more stuff, which is nice to have stuff. All right. And then we got here some notable exchanges between early civilizations include the following. We'll get to that in a second. Right now, you may go back and look at this paragraph, and you may take the notes the best you can. Mr. Beach, if you could give these guys about 2 to 3 minutes to get that done. They might not need that long, but 2 to 3 minutes, you may be awesome sophomores, and you may take your notes quietly. Go ahead and do that. All right, now that your notes are done, why don't you guys in groups of 2 or 3, if there's like a person on a table who's out, why don't you compare and share the notes you have? And Mr. Beach, you can pause the video. Give them about 2 to 3 minutes to get that done. All right, sophomores, now that you've compared and you've shared, let's do your homework. Your homework is going to be these next 2 sections, one called Between Mesopotamia and Indus Civilization, and you will take notes here on how these 2 civilizations trade goods back and forth. Then you'll also read Between Egypt and Nubia, all the way here, and you will also read about how these 2 civilizations traded their goods back and forth. So take notes on this and do a good job, because what you are going to be doing is you are going to use the notes that you have here are going to be used in your graphic organizer later, and you'll be turning this into a paragraph which is going to be turned in and graded with 14 points. So why don't we take the rest of the time of class and you can take notes. If you get it done, that's awesome. You got no homework. If you don't get it done, you got a little bit of homework to get done. And that'll be class. So you guys have a great day.